Okay. Hey guys, welcome back to another yoga class with me. My name is Alex and I'm going to be guiding you on your practice today. Today's class is definitely going to be more of an advanced version of a Vinyasa style flow. We're going to be utilizing a lot of grounding postures using our legs and also working with a number of different balance positions. And the reason why I chose this is because we're trying to open up our Muladhara chakra, which is our base chakra, right at the bottom of, if we're seated like I am right here, it's at our very base. This is the start of our chakras. The color is red. And I just feel like it's appropriate because a lot of times during the holiday season, we're running around, we're going crazy, we're here, we're there, we're trying to get gifts, we're trying to get last minute cookies together, and we're just always on the go, 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 right? And sometimes the holidays just bring up a lot of different emotions, and we need to take moments in our lives and give it back to ourselves. And what better way to do that by working through some really grounding asanas, focusing on that color red, thinking about the Muladhara chakra, our root chakra. How can we keep ourselves grounded in times, not even just in yoga, but off the mat? And that's all about this practice. That's why we're here. Okay. And I do suggest that if you feel like you need to adapt any of the poses, you use a set of blocks. I'm going to also start this practice with a heart bench pose. So I'm going to use my bolster. You can use a bolster if you have it, or if you have a blanket or even a towel, you can fold it so that it kind of mimics a bolster by folding it halfway, in half like this, and just placing it at the base of your spine. So when you're ready, I want you to come to your backs. And we're just going to begin. You can keep your legs flat out in front of you, or if you want, you can also keep them in a Baddha Konasana position with knees open, feet coming to touch at the base, and just leaning back on our bolster and opening up our chest. This is also good for just releasing anything in our hips. We hold a lot of tension and anxiety in our hips. So I just thought, in order to get us really kind of opened up for the start of this practice, we begin in a heart bench pose. So just settle in, start to breathe into your nostrils and exhale out your mouth. Continuing this cycle of inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. We're going to begin this practice with some nice cleansing breaths. Inhale and exhale. This should be audible. Giving our bodies a chance to really just come to our practice. You already made the decision to come when you decided to show up. And that's more than half the battle. So you already were beginning your yoga practice at that point. So now we're just going to begin to get the body ready. Breathing in. Exhale through the mouth. Couple more rounds. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale through the nose. And exhale. Inhale through the nose. And exhale. Doing 2 more rounds of this on your own. On the next inhale, bringing yourself back up to a seated cross-legged position. We want to bring our hands in prayer pose, thumb knuckles to our chest bone. And just close your eyes, maybe slightly bowing your head forward. I want you to set an intention for this practice. Maybe the intention is just to take some time for yourself, to let go, maybe to decompress from the busy atmosphere that we're living in right now, maybe just to take a few moments to breathe. And at any point during this practice, you can always come to child's pose if you feel like you need a break or you just need to catch your breath. Child's pose is a rest position and there when we need it. But when we do move into these rest postures, or if we're going through our practice and feeling like we're super stressed out or the anxiety is coming up, bring that intention to mind and use that to be your guide, your catalyst to push you forward. This practice is going to challenge us. It's going to use a lot of our leg and a lot of our core, but we can all accomplish this practice just like we can accomplish any task that life throws us in life, whether it's in the yoga studio or outside the yoga studio. So keeping that intention in mind, I want you to inhale your arms up to the sky, really rooting down in your base, keeping a nice straight spine, gaze looking up towards the ceiling. And on the exhale, we're going to drop our right hand behind us and use our left arm to touch our right knee and just kind of twist open. We're just beginning, so we're slowly doing this and really opening up. On an inhale, bringing those arms back up over top. Again, keeping our base grounded. And on the exhale, shifting to the left side, left arm at the base of our spine, right hand pulling against our knee to twist ourselves open. Inhale, arms back up. We're going to do one more round on each side. So twisting back over to the right, maybe this time really rooting into your lower belly and twisting a little bit further open, trying to get your chin over top of your shoulder, looking behind you. On an inhale, lifting those arms up. On an exhale, twisting to the left again, tucking that lower belly in, seeing if you can get a little bit deeper into this position. And on an inhale, bringing those arms back up. Exhale, bringing them down to our sides. We're going to move into tabletop, but we're not going to be here for long. I want you to kind of just rock back and forth, curling your toes and kind of flowing through, maybe to an upward facing dog variation, but just kind of feeling like water ebbing and flowing back and forth. We're just waking the body up and doing a couple more rounds, breathing in and out. Maybe exhaling, inhale, exhale. We're just going through this maybe 2 more times. And then coming back to a neutral spine, I want you to tuck your toes so that they're gripping the mat and really kind of spread those toes out. We're gonna slowly kind of lean back and we're gonna come into a toe stand. Now, this is a modified toe stand. In normal toe stand, your knees are lifted off the ground and your toes are supporting you. But we're just gonna give a little stretch to our feet because our feet do a lot of work for us during our asana practice and we don't always give them the full stretch that they need. This is really gonna ignite some emotion in you, but again, breathe into this position. So if it hurts, if you feel like you wanna come out, take a deeper inhale and exhale. And focus on the breath. Inhale and exhale. We're going to stay here for about 1.5 minutes. And I know that's long, but if you focus on that breath work, it will go by really quickly for you. And it's really good just to give our toes this release. It also helps with our internal organs, especially in our stomach, our gallbladder, our spleen. It's a nice rinsing position. You may have experienced this if you've done a yin class before. Breathing in and out. You can rest your arms right on top of your knees, or maybe just keep them to the side, whatever's more comfortable. Couple more rounds of breaths. On the next inhale, come back into that tabletop, releasing your toes. You should feel a beautiful release of energy, almost like the blood is rushing to those toe joints, maybe your toe knuckles. All right, you may be feeling a little bit of a tingling, which is all great, everything that should be happening. And on an inhale, we want to move into, or rather an exhale, we want to lower ourselves down to the ground using those chaturanga arms. We're going to keep our arms nice and long into the shape of a T, and we're going to bend our left leg. I'm going to start on the left side. So what I want you to do, or I invite you to do, because we really want to stretch out our legs before we get into the bulk of our practice here, we're going to flex our foot up towards the ceiling, lifting and then twisting over top of our body and dropping our foot to the floor behind us. You'll feel this stretch across your back. You'll feel it in your chest. It's a nice reverse twist position. And just staying into this, you'll feel this too in your shoulders. Just breathing into this. And on the exhale, coming back to a neutral position, we're going to switch to the other side. So begin by flexing the right leg up towards the sky. Foot would be walking on the ceiling. Lift the foot up and twist it over top of your left leg so that your right foot touches the ground. Keeping those arms stretched out. Feeling the opening in our shoulder, our left shoulder. And just breathing into this position. On the exhale, coming back to neutral position. Take your forearms out in front of you and push up into cobra pose. Maybe going a little bit further, just starting to open up our spine, grounding those hands into the floor. Our tops of our toes should be resting. And then we're going to move into Sphinx. And just staying here, this is a back opener, a back bend, subtle. But it's going to help us later on when we try to get into some of these more difficult positions. Looking up towards the sky, and then maybe dropping your head towards the mat. Maybe just going through this rotation a few times, working with your breath. Inhaling up, exhaling down, inhaling up, and exhaling down. And on your next inhale, bringing your hands towards the center of your mat, lifting your elbows out towards either edge, and just dropping your forehead to the base. This is crocodile pose. It's a subtle back opening position. We're just giving ourselves a moment here, taking a few breaths. Just kind of giving our legs some time to rest before we really get into our Vinyasa practice today. On the next inhale, place your hands on either side of your ribs and push yourselves back up to tabletop, flexing your feet underneath, gripping the ground with your toes, and pushing back into your first downward facing dog. Now here you can begin by pedaling out your feet, maybe dropping one knee, then the other knee, maybe kind of flowing back and forth a little bit from downward dog to a plank, just to loosen up your back. But when you're ready, I want you to come to a nice settled position. Your inner ankles and your inner thighs should be twisting and opening towards the back of your mat. Your neck should be tucked, your chin towards your chest, looking through those legs, and your shoulders should be away from your ears, rooting down into all four corners of your mat, evenly distributing your weight in your hands and your feet. And just hang out here for a few breaths. This is an active rest posture. And when you're ready, I want you to walk your hands back to your feet. And we're just going to hang here in ragdoll, keeping our head and our neck loose. Maybe you want to rock back side to side. And we're just going to stay in this position, keeping our arms folded and crossed. Or if you want, you can place your hands on the floor, grounding into both your feet and your hands. If you need a block, feel free to use a block to support yourself. If you can't stretch all the way down, you don't want to overstress your arms or legs. On an inhale, coming up to halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Begin to bend the right knee, keeping the left leg straight, placing the right arm firmly on the ground, and lifting open our chest with our left hand pointing up to the sky. Just staying here for a few breaths. Really grounding in, supporting our body, supporting our weight. On the exhale, coming back to neutral, straightening both legs out. The inhale, dropping our left hand, bending our left leg, and twisting open to the right. Exhale, coming back to the ground. Just staying here for a breath. Full round, inhale and exhale. And slowly, one vertebrae at a time. And please go slowly because we're just upside down for a little bit. Raising those arms up and leaving them on either side of your body. We're going to start to move into some more complicated positions. So again, if you need to come and take a break at any point, child's pose is always there to provide you that rest position. On an inhale, pull your hands up towards the sky, really rooting down in the base of your feet. Lift your toes up just to give you that support to make sure that the base of your feet and your heels are evenly grounding you in. And then drop those toes down, spreading them out nice and wide, really feeling that grip, keeping those arms nice and straight over top. Neck and chin are aligned, looking straight out in front of you. On the exhale, folding forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, drop your hands to the mat and walk them out in front of you. We're moving into our first plank pose, making sure our Muladhara Bandha at the base is locked, right? We want to be nice and strong here. So everything is aligned. We're going to either hinge forward, moving into our Chaturanga, or if you need, again, you can drop to your knees and lower your chest and chin, moving into an adapted Chaturanga, but either way, meeting me back in downward facing dog. On an inhale, lift up the right leg nice and straight, bending open the knee, opening up the hips, keeping your shoulders and chest aligned straight in front of you. And on the inhale, straightening out that leg, bringing it in, planting that right foot down between our hands. We're moving into runner's lunge, okay? So the left foot should be lifted. Those toes should be kind of supporting you, grounding down into the floor and staying here. Just looking forward. Place your right hand on the inside of your right foot, dropping that left leg open as if we were in Warrior Two, and lifting that left hand up towards the sky. You can slightly start to push that right knee open a little bit. See if you can get a little bit deeper. And then bringing that left hand down, adjusting that foot back to runner's position, and then opening up the right side. Coming back, framing out the foot, and using your core, I want you to lift up into a crescent lunge. All right, and we're gonna stay here for a few breaths. Our alignment should be nice and straight, looking forward, shoulders relaxed, nice bend in the front leg, back leg should be nice and straight on the balls of your toes. And on an inhale, bringing that back foot up to meet our right, quickly standing and coming into our first chair position. Now, you traditionally want to keep your toes and your heels your toes should be together, heels slightly apart, really sitting down into that base and then lifting those arms up, nice and tall, shoulders relaxed. If this is too much, just step your feet out a little bit more, like hips width distance apart, and again, moving into that position. And staying here, whatever version you want, breathing in. Try to see if you can get down one more inch, and exhale, forward fold. Releasing that stance, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, moving back into your chaturanga, hinging forward. Don't forget to breathe. Exhale, downward dog. This time we're gonna go through the same position on the left. So lifting the left leg up, bending open that left knee, straightening the leg back out. On the exhale, placing that foot down in front between our hands, keeping our right leg into that runner's position. We're gonna place our left hand on the right side of our left foot, dropping our right foot open and reaching our right hand up to the sky. Maybe you wanna push your left knee open a little bit wider, just hanging here. And coming back, placing our right hand down, shifting back into runner's lunge, lifting that left hand up, using our core, our Muladhara Bandha, bringing that right hand to frame out our left foot. And again, keeping that leg straight, support on the balls of your back toes. We're gonna lift up into a crescent lunge. Staying here for a few breaths. And on the next inhale, bringing that back foot up to meet our front and moving into a chair pose. Keeping our head, chest up towards the sky, arms and palms are facing each other. Taking one more breath in and exhale, release. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, chaturanga dandasana. Meeting me in a downward facing dog, lifting the right leg up, bending that knee, pulling that leg in, warrior one on the right. So before we get started, check your alignment. Your front knee should be bent and a nice 90-degree angle. Back leg is straight, foot at a 45. The blade edge of your foot is supporting your weight, but you really want to push into those hips, facing forward, arms up. Staying here, breathing in, exhale. On your next inhale, lean back for a reverse warrior, framing out your front feet, coming back, moving into your chaturanga. We're gonna do this again on the left. Left leg up, exhale, drop to the floor. Check your alignment, right foot at a 45, left leg nice and bent at a 90, staying here. breathing. Inhale, reverse warrior, back bend. Framing out the hands, moving back into a chaturanga. Meeting me in downward facing dog. Lifting the right leg up, pulling it through, warrior one. Staying here for 2 breaths. Opening up to warrior two. Nice T shape in the arms, front leg is bent, back foot is parallel to the back of the mat. We're gonna reverse our warrior and bring our hand, our right forearm to our top of the right thigh, moving into side angle pose. So your left arm will open up towards the sky. Seeing how far you can stretch. You can stay here, or you can drop your right arm to the ground and moving into an extended side angle, moving that left hand over top. Maybe for a challenge, you lift up your right hand. If you just want to stay here, that's fine. Or maybe you have a bind. If you can do birds of paradise, make the bind. If not, you can just stay here, opening up a little bit more. Coming back up to warrior two. Keep those legs bent. I know it hurts. Warrior one. Framing out your hands. Bringing that back leg up to meet into chair pose. So I told you a lot of grounding. Make sure your alignment is correct. Maybe this time lifting your toes up off the ground. Getting down maybe 1 more inch. Exhale, forward fold. Nice release. Spread the feet hips width distance apart. And we're gonna go into yogi toe lock. So you can take your peace fingers, pull them on your toes, and just begin to let your body have a minute of rest here, okay? Just kind of giving your back and your legs, maybe you rock side to side, trying to bend the arms and pull yourselves a little bit closer to the mat. Just breathing, keeping your head and neck nice and loose. On the inhale, releasing your hands to the ground, taking a breath. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, stepping back into a plank again, using that Muladhara Bandha, shifting forward, dropping down, flowing through a chaturanga, coming back up to downward facing dog. We're gonna do the same thing on the left. So lifting the left leg up, exhale, dropping it down, moving into warrior one, holding it here, nice bend in the front knee, edge of the foot, grounding into the floor in the back, opening up to warrior two. Again, keeping a nice T shape in the arms, chest is open, foot is parallel to the back of the mat. Dropping our right arm for reverse warrior. We're gonna move into a side angle stretch on the left. So left forearm touches the left thigh, right forearm reaches up to the ceiling. Gaze is looking up. If you want an extended side angle, dropping that left hand to the ground. If you need a block, feel free to use it. And extending that right hand over top. Again, if you want, you can lift up your left arm for an additional stretch, or drop that right arm towards the back. Looking up. Coming back up to warrior two. Remember, breathe. I know it hurts. Moving back into warrior one. And coming into chair. From warrior one, lifting up, holding this here, maybe this time getting up on those toes, dropping your butt down a little bit further, breathing, forward fold. Halfway lift, and forward fold. This time, coming into Malasana. So I'll turn for this, that way you guys can see this, but You want to bring your feet facing out to the width of your mat. And you're going to drop your legs down into a nice squat position. So you can stay here and hold this, or you can move into some arm balancing poses. And again, we're channeling that Muladhara chakra. So feel free to take a risk, right? You're not going to know your limits until you test yourself. So again, stay here. You can work with this, just stretching out those hips. Hip openers, release that tension, that anxiety, rounding yourself, keeping your chest nice and straight. You don't want to collapse in the pose. Your legs should be on fire. Or you have two options. You can take a crow, which you can come to like the middle of your mat. You want to keep your heels together, your toes a little bit flared open to either side. And your hands are going to become like bird fingers, where they've got a little bit of a bend in the knuckles. And you really want to grip down on the mat with those fingertips, those finger pads, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my hands in a position. I'm going to bend my knees out first, gripping the mat like those bird fingers I told you about, lifting up. I want to rest my knees on the backs of my arms. So I'm going to keep my gaze looking forward at the top of my mat, and I'm going to come onto my toes, and I'm going to literally drag my toes until I can feel that stability in my support, my base holding my body up. So if you're ready, gripping your hands, lifting those legs, placing them onto our arms, and if you come out, it's fine, but just looking forward. Maybe you do 1 foot at a time until you get comfortable. But if you have it in your practice and you can ground into those hands, lifting those toes up. Okay, so that's crow. Maybe you want to try crow, but you're not quite there. You can also do baby crow, which 9 times out of 10, most people can get into baby crow. So keeping your feet into the same kind of position, heels touching, toes flared out. This time, we're gonna bring the base of our arms to the floor, almost like we're in Sphinx pose. And we're gonna take our knees and squeeze our outer arms and just really kind of squeeze at the same time we're going down, which will help lift our midsection up. So I'm gonna drop my hands. I'm going to shift forward, lifting and squeezing and pointing my toes. So this is a different type of a balancing position with crow pose or baby crow, whichever one you want, or you might still be in malasana. So if you're in crow or baby crow, take a couple rounds. And when you're ready, come back to that malasana position. We're gonna do some side stretching again. And if you have a bind or you've come to this practice before and you feel like you're really warmed up, feel free to take it where you want. But on an inhale, we're gonna extend our right arm out in front of our right foot and just reach our left hand up towards the sky. And if you have it, you can bind around your right knee. Maybe you want to make that bind with your hands. Okay. And if flamingos in your practice, you can wiggle the legs together, keeping the knees tucked. You want to lift up, root into that left leg. I'm struggling just a little bit, but really make sure that you have the grip. Lifting up and coming into flamingo. So when you're ready, release. Coming back to malasana. We're gonna do the same thing on the left. Now everybody has a good side and a bad side, so maybe the left side and my left side is more difficult. You decide for you where you wanna go, but if you're ready, inhale that left arm out. Reach that right arm up. Staying here, we're making the bind, and maybe you just stay here. okay? Maybe this is all you can do, or maybe you can't do the bind, so you just want to stay here. Over time, practicing this, you will get the hang of it. So once you have the grip, adjust your feet, and when you're ready, shift the support over onto your right foot and begin to lift your left leg and knee up. And if you fall out, you fall out. It's okay. But when you're done, just coming to a forward fold. This time, we're going to place our hands underneath of our feet, taking the pressure off of our feet just for a moment. Our toes should be touching the wrist. And just begin to breathe. We just did a lot of leg work, kind of opening our hips up, getting ourselves ready for some of our balance postures. When you're ready, releasing your hands, just taking a breath in and a cleansing breath out. On the next inhale, raise up to halfway lift. Keep the spine nice and straight, neck should be flat. Exhale, drop those hands to the floor, step back into your plank, shoot forward, and move through your chaturanga. Walk your feet, straight leg up towards the top of your mat. And on an inhale, slowly rise up, stretching those hands nice and tall over top, really rooting down in the base of your feet, bringing your hands to prayer pose, and then towards the sides, palms facing out. I'm gonna turn myself so that you guys can see what I'm doing. But we're gonna move into some balancing postures. And you're probably tired, your breath is hard to catch. Just remember, inhale, exhale, always come back to the breath. It will help ground you, all right? And the reason why we save the balancing postures towards maybe the end of practice is because your body's already been put through the ringer, so your blood is hot, your body is warmed up, you're tired, and that's when the challenge of using the balance postures comes into play. It really messes with you a little bit, but in a good way, because it's making you work. It's making you zone in to the position and block out all the negativity. So come to the center of your mats, and I want you to just begin by kickstanding your right leg. Take your palms and face them out towards the sides, and just take a couple breaths. Breathing in and out, and try to keep the breath inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your nose. Now you can stay here, or you can begin to raise the base of your foot either to your shins or your calves or above your knee. But the key is to not place any type of foot pressure on your kneecap or any area that your knee takes up. You want to go above or below. Now you can keep your hands out to the side and just breathe into this posture. Really grounding into that left foot. Try to keep it nice and straight. If you want to challenge, maybe start to close your eyes. Maybe you want to move your hands into prayer pose. And just keep this focus. All right, it's really challenging, but if you breathe And focus on a drishti, a point where your eyes can focus on and block out all the noise in the background. It'll really help to keep you balanced and in the position. And then maybe from here, you take your arms up, maybe waving those branches from side to side, feeling as if you're a tree in a storm and nobody will knock you down. And just holding it here for 3, for 2, for 1. Releasing your arms back down and your leg. And just shake out your legs. Maybe give them a little bit of a break. Rocking your hips side to side. If you need a little bit of release, interlace your fingers and just flip them overhead, kind of bending forward, rinsing out your shoulders. It's also a nice stretch for the backs of our legs. Coming back, standing up. And we're going to do the same thing on the left. So again, we're going to start by kickstanding our left foot, keeping our arms out to the side, palms facing up, nice and relaxed. Just taking a few breaths, slowing ourselves down. On the next inhale, either raising that leg up to your calf, or if you have it in your practice, to place it up a little bit higher, but again, not on the knee, grounding down into the 4 corners of that right foot, keeping your right leg nice and steady, focusing on your breath, keeping your hands out, palms facing up towards the sky. Maybe bringing those hands slowly into our chest and just breathing. Maybe taking our prayer hands and raising them up towards the sky. And again, if you want to challenge, maybe close your eyes, see how long you can stay there. Maybe sway your branches back and forth, imagining again you're that tree that's rooting down into the earth and no storm is going to be able to come through and knock you down because you're rooted, you're grounded, you're strong, you're using all of your strength to support yourself. Staying for a few more breaths, for 3, 2, 1, release. Dropping your arms, dropping your legs, again, shaking out whatever doesn't serve you. We're going to continue by doing some additional leg balancing poses. This is a modification if you take Bikram of standing head to knee pose, but we're going to lift our right leg up into our chest, and we're just going to stay here for a few breaths. This is challenging even just being in this position. In standard Bikram poses, you would come down to the bottom of your foot, making sure that that standing leg doesn't move and it's straight and nice and balanced, and then you would kick your foot out nice and straight, bending those elbows down and dropping your head. But lucky for you, we're not going to do that. We're just going to focus on keeping our knee bent at a nice 90 degree. Your arms can be out to the side. Okay, and just standing in this position. We're working that Muladhara Bandha right here into our stomach, really locking in our abdominal muscles. You should feel this in your lower half and in your legs. And just stay here for a few breaths. Keeping that leg at a nice 90 degrees. On an inhale, taking your left arm and just grabbing the outside of your right knee and maybe opening up that right arm, seeing if you can then turn your gaze to look over top of your right shoulder. And just staying here, breathing through the stress, breathing through the wobbles, trying to just round into that left leg, coming back to center, releasing that leg to the ground. Good job. We're gonna move on to our right leg. So our right leg's gonna feel pretty much on fire since we just held it up. But lift that left leg up, nice 90 degree, flex those feet, and just hold this here. Breathing in, keeping that standing leg nice and grounded, spreading those toes to support you, nice straight spine, top of the head, our crown chakra reaching up towards the ceiling. On an inhale, taking that right arm, grabbing outside of that left knee, and using our left hand to open up, and just looking over our left shoulder. Breathing, coming back to center, and dropping our leg. Okay, we're gonna take dancer on the right. So I want you to, I'm gonna shift this way so that you can see it, and then I'll turn sideways. But you're gonna keep your right arm out, just kind of flex your foot, keeping the toes on the ground, getting ready. You're gonna lift your right leg up, bending your knee, grabbing the inside of your right ankle, but you wanna really keep your knees together. You're gonna raise your left arm up, keeping this nice and straight, and kicking into your arm, you're gonna bend forward, looking over your fingertips. So I'm gonna turn now and do this so that you can see what it looks like from the side. So when you're ready, keep reaching that right arm out, flexing that right foot, bending our leg, grabbing our inside ankle with our right hand, lifting that left arm up, and when you're ready, kicking into that balance pose. Keeping our left leg straight, chest coming forward, looking over our fingertips, maybe getting a little bit deeper. And then on the inhale, coming back up, exhale, release the arms. We're gonna do the same thing on the left. So when you're ready, kickstand that left leg, bring that left arm out, lifting our bent leg up, grabbing the inside of our left ankle, right arm raises up, fingertips together. On an inhale, kicking into our foot, getting that balance in our standing right leg, looking over our fingertips, holding, breathing. On the inhale, coming back up, exhale, release. Great job, guys. And if you fell out, that's fine, okay? The important part is that you're aligning yourself up, and then you can always come back to that pose and do it again and just continue to practice. We're gonna move now into eagle. I'm gonna turn this way so that you guys can see me. On an inhale, raise those arms up nice and tall. Exhale, right arm, we're gonna bend our knees, right arm's gonna come underneath of our left. We're gonna grip our hands and pull down below our nose. Just for right now. We're gonna take our right leg, lift that knee up, cross it over, and really try to get that right leg to wrap around our left calf. All right, and when you're ready, lift the chest up, lift the arms up so that the elbows are in line with the shoulders, and just hold this here. The more you pull down on that top leg and really sit into your seat, the tighter that foot will become and able to wrap around the left. Keeping the bind in the arms, we're going to lift that right leg up to a 90-degree bend and shift it back into a bound airplane pose, keeping our right foot flexed, left foot nice and straight. Arms are still bound together, looking forward. On the next inhale, releasing those arms for a flying warrior 3. Reverse arms. Maybe seeing if you can pull your arms forward. Staying for another breath. Trying to raise up your right leg with your glutes. And on the exhale, coming back, maybe taking a forward fold. Bending in, stretching out any areas you need. Maybe rinsing out those shoulders. Maybe coming up, taking a slight back bend. And we're gonna do the same thing on the left. So when you're ready, lifting those arms up, bending our knees, left arm sweeps underneath the right, hands coming to a nice grip, lifting our left leg up and over our right. Again, the tighter you push down on the top leg, the more you're gonna get that left leg to wrap around the right. Okay, and on the inhale, raise those arms up so that your elbows are in line with your shoulders. Just breathing into this posture. On an inhale, keeping the arms bound, release that bind in the legs, standing that left leg up, bent, and shifting back into a bound eagle. You want to try to keep your leg as straight as you can, neck nice and long, looking down towards the top of your mat, keeping your left foot flexed, really grounding into that right foot, that right leg. On an inhale, releasing those arms for a little bit of an airplane. If you fall out, come back. Use that strength in your legs, maybe reaching those arms forward for warrior 3. On an exhale, coming back up. And again, folding forward if you need, or maybe taking a slight back bend. And when you're ready, come into the top of your mat. We're gonna lift those arms up, and we're gonna slowly bend into our chair pose. And we're doing this slowly because we're gonna hold it here. 3, 2, 1. Staying in chair, lifting those toes up. 3, 2, 1. Staying in chair, coming onto our toes, lifting our heels. Your legs should be on fire. Sitting low, coming down, using your strength, maybe balancing on your toes. And when you're ready, slowly coming down to your base, laying on your back, and rolling out your spine. That feels good. Your legs should be loving the fact that we're laying flat on our back. So just take a couple of breaths here, maybe coming into Supta Baddha Konasana, bringing the base and soles of our feet together, letting our knees fall out to either side, putting one hand on our chest, one hand on our stomach, and just breathing. Taking a few moments to allow ourselves just to release in this challenging practice. Hopefully you're sweating because I am. Really building up that fire inside of us. Maybe it's that color red from our Muladhara chakra, just unleashing that energy. And again, that chakra is at our base. And we've really been working a lot of the chakras in this alignment, but really trying to think and focus on our root and finding stability in that root chakra. So taking a couple more breaths. We're going to move into some back bending in a few minutes. So just taking this moment here to really maybe catch your breath or just give your body a little bit of a break. Breathing in through your nose, taking some nice deep cleansing breaths out through your nose. If it's audible, then that's good. You want to be able to hear the breath. When we are able to utilize our breath work perfectly in the Vinyasa practice, it's allowing our body to move the prana throughout. And the breath work is the key to letting the body heal itself. That's why when we sleep, we get into such a relaxed state that we work with our deep inhales and our deep exhales, and it just sends the energy necessary for our body to heal itself. So if we can get the breath work down, then it's golden. On an inhale, just dropping your arms to the side and bringing your knees up towards the ceiling, really grounding your feet into the base of your mat. Like I said, we're going to move into some chest opening back bends. We're going to do 2 bridge poses, and then we're going to do 2 wheels. If you want a challenge and you think you can do a wheel for all 4 rounds, that's fine, but I'm going to show you how to do a bridge, and then I'll show you how to do a wheel. And we'll just start by opening up our abdomen area and using our quads to support us and our feet to really ground into our mat. So when you're ready, you're gonna lock that Muladhara Bandha, lifting up, pushing into our feet, pushing our stomachs and hips up towards the sky, maybe walking your heels in a little bit more and touching your fingertips to the outer edges. And just hold it here for 3, for 2, for 1, tucking the chin, lowering the spine to the ground, maybe releasing and windshield wipering the legs to either side. We're going to do this again. Maybe this time working with straightening 1 leg at a time. When you're ready, on the inhale, lifting up through the hips, maybe this time tucking your shoulders in a little bit so that your arms are more supported. Maybe inhale that right leg up, breathing here, dropping that right leg down, lifting that left leg up, staying here, maybe getting up onto your toes, and then coming back down. Now, if wheel's not in your practice, feel free to stay in bridge for the next 2 poses, but I encourage you to challenge yourself, right? Step outside the box. Find your stability, find your support, and root down, this time into 4 corners. Our hands, which are going to reverse above our head, and our feet. And I find that it helps if you move your feet a little bit closer to your base, okay? And then kind of set your hands, flipping them over, and when you're ready, lifting up, breathing here, trying to get your chest to really open up, lifting those hips. For 3, for 2, for 1, tucking the chin, slowly lowering down. If you need to, rock those legs side to side. We're gonna do this 1 more time. When you're ready, setting up your feet, setting your hands. On an inhale, pushing up. We're gonna stay here for 5 breaths, and you can do this. Lifting that chest up, lifting those hips up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, tucking the chin, coming down. And again, windshield wiper those legs. If that's in your practice, you can even come into a happy baby and maybe just rock your lower back side to side. That was a lot of work, guys. So just giving yourself a moment, maybe extending your legs nice and straight out in front of you, reaching those hands above your head, and just giving your body a nice extension. Really releasing any areas that need it. When you're ready, I want you to rock up 3 times and meet me in a downward facing dog. And when you're ready, tucking your hands, 1, 2, 3. Maybe you can cross your legs and shoot back into a plank, and then back up into downward facing dog. Or if you just need to get into this in a different way, that's fine. We're gonna move into one of my favorite positions, pigeon pose. And this is really good if you have sciatica, but we worked our hips a lot, so we just wanna give them a nice little stretch. So on an inhale, we'll lift that right leg up, bend open the knee, and when you're ready, bring that leg through, flexing the right foot, dropping our knee to the ground, maybe scooching that leg back. We want to try to get our leg, right leg, parallel to our mat. Now, don't rush into this. That's where a lot of people can get hurt because they're moving so fast that they begin to injure themselves. And we want to do the opposite here. We really just want to give the hips and the legs, even our chest, an opportunity to just really stretch itself out. So keep that right foot flexed. You can even keep your left foot, toes tucked underneath, touching the mat to keep it in an active position. You want to make sure that your hips are centered. Okay, you don't want to be leaning to the left or leaning to the right. You want even support on your legs. So the left leg's not going to move. The right leg, the foot is flexed and trying to get as parallel to the top of your mat as possible. And you can just stay here. If you need blocks, place them underneath of you for support. And when you're ready, just slowly begin to lower down. See how far you can get. Maybe you just come into your forearms and you just continue to stay here until we're out of this side. Or maybe after you've stayed here for a few breaths, you want to challenge yourself a little bit more and walk your hands out in front of you to see if you can get your chest and forehead to touch on your mat. And we just want to hold this here we're going to hold it for about 1.5 minutes. So again, it's a hip opener. It's going to cause some tension. So just make sure we're breathing into the pose. And the longer we hold it, the deeper we get into the stretch. So focus on your breath. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And again, we're holding this for 1.5 minutes. We've already been here about 20 seconds. Just focusing on your inhalations and your exhalations. Quieting the mind. Releasing that tension in our hips. Seeing if you can maybe walk your fingertips out a little bit more, getting deeper into the position. On the next inhale, slowly raising yourself back up. We're not coming out just yet. Just staying here. Maybe you can flex your left foot. Maybe you can reach back and grab it, really feeling that stretch in the top of your thigh. Maybe if you have it, you can lift your arm up, tucking it a little bit further. Mermaid, release, and then push back up into downward facing dog. We're gonna do this pigeon pose on the left side. So when you're ready, lifting that left leg up and bringing that foot through. Again, keeping your feet flexed. You wanna make your leg parallel with the mat, reaching that right leg back, keeping your toes tucked under to keep this leg active. You also want to make sure that your hip alignment is nice and straight and no awkward distribution on the right or the left. And then when you're ready, walking your arms out. If this is all that you can do, then stay here. If you need the blocks, use them for support, or maybe you can reach out a little bit further and really just breathe into this pose. Maybe seeing if you can walk your fingertips out just a little bit more, trying to get as flat to the mat as you can. On an inhale, slowly pushing yourself back up again, pausing here. Maybe you want to bend your right leg, reach back for a mermaid. Maybe attempting to lift that left arm up for some balance. But again, don't hurt yourself if this is not in your practice. And then releasing. And then swing your legs around, putting them flat out in front of you. Bending your left leg, almost like a tree variation, keeping your right leg out in front, lifting those arms up to the sky, stretching out our spine, and then just leaning forward, but we don't want to collapse. We want to keep our chest nice and straight, back straight. Chest should be looking forward, gripping our feet if we can. If not, going where you need, maybe you need to use the blocks. Just bending into this, maybe bending our elbows, getting our chest a little bit closer. And then dropping our knee if you can, or our head to our knee. Really feeling that stretch throughout our back and in the back of our legs and our hamstrings. On the inhale, coming up, switching out our legs. Left leg comes out straight, right leg bends. Lifting our arms up. Again, folding straight, keeping our chest straight out in front of us, legs flat back. Bending into those elbows, bringing our chest a little bit closer to our legs. And bending forward. On an inhale, raising up. Keep both feet out in front of you, maybe releasing any flesh on your sits bones. Hands up. Coming to a forward fold, maybe grabbing those big toes with your peace fingers, bending your elbows, keeping a nice flat back, chest towards the front of the room. Feeling that stretch. And maybe floating forward. And when you're ready, lifting up and lowering all the way down for Savasana. Keeping your legs spread to the width of the mat. Opening your arms, letting them fall over to the sides, facing palms facing up, and just relax. You made it. So begin to quiet the mind, coming back to the breath work. I'm going to leave you here for a few moments of silence. So just keep focusing on your breath, giving yourself the time you need for this well-deserved rest. now, start to begin to wiggle your fingertips and your toes, slowly bringing life back into the body. Maybe on the next breath, rotating your wrists and your ankles, and beginning to wake our limbs back up. And then on the next inhale, just shifting over to the right side body. And resting on our side, maybe placing your hands underneath of your head, keeping your eyes closed. Just take 2 breaths here. Keeping those eyes closed, gently push yourselves back up. Come to a seated cross-legged position on your mat. Bringing those hands to our chest in prayer position, bowing our heads. It was an honor guiding you in this practice today. Really rooting down through our base, through our root chakra, and finding that inner strength that we sometimes need a little bit of reminding that we have it, that we can do it, that we can get through it. And just coming back to our breath work really helps us to stabilize our mind, our thoughts, our emotions, and releasing any of that unwanted energy, whether it's on the mat or outside in the real world. Bowing your heads to seal this practice. I wish you all a very happy holiday. Stay safe and stay healthy. Namaste. Thanks everyone. I hope you got a great workout in. Feel free to come back to my YouTube channel and check out more of our Vinyasa Yin adaptive flows. All right. Enjoy the holidays.